Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Less than 2 months before European voters in 27 countries take part in EU Parliament elections, Belgium says it is investigating pro-Russian networks that are trying to influence the vote. Moscow's aim was to bring more pro-Russian candidates into the European Parliament, said Prime Minister Alexander De Croo. The Czech government said recently that it had broken up a pro-Kremlin network. Intelligence agencies both in Prague and Poland said the Voice of Europe news website had been funded by Moscow to spread propaganda and funnel cash to sympathetic European politicians. It comes days after long-time Latvian MEP Tatiana Zdanoka was sanctioned and fined after she was accused of having spied for Russia.
Whether this is the AfD in Germany or the Rassemblement National in France, the Confederacja in Poland or others, the names may be different, but their goal is the same. They are trampling on our values and they want to destroy our Europe, and we will never, ever let this happen.
The FBI is concerned about the possibility of an organized attack in the United States, similar to the one that killed scores of people at a Russian concert hall last month. The March the 22nd attack on a concert hall in a Moscow suburb killed at least 144 people, the deadliest in Russia in 20 years. A branch of the Islamic State militant group claimed responsibility, but Russian President Vladimir Putin, without citing evidence, has sought to blame Ukraine. US officials have been worried about the possibility of an attack carried out by an individual or small group, inspired by the war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza.
As I look back over my career in law enforcement, I would be hard-pressed to think of a time where so many threats to our public safety and national security were so elevated all at once.
Deaths caused by the mosquito-borne dengue disease have more than tripled in Peru so far this year. That's according to data from the South American nation's government, which is redoubling efforts to contain an epidemic that has hit poor areas the hardest. The government of President Dina Boluarte this week said it had approved an emergency decree allowing extraordinary economic measures to bolster the plan to counter the outbreak, which experts say is exacerbated by climate change. Mild symptoms include nausea, rashes and body pains, while a rarer severe form, more threatening for infants and pregnant women, can cause internal bleeding and is potentially fatal. Peru's health ministry said there were 117 registered deaths from dengue so far this year, compared with 33 in the same period of 2023. Floods in the Russian city of Orenburg have raised water levels to 2 meters above critical, leaving just the roofs of some houses showing. The city's mayor urged many residents to leave home. Levels in Orenburg are likely to peak on Friday, but floods are expected to spread through neighboring regions over the coming days and weeks. Kazakhstan has also been badly affected, with 100,000 people evacuated from their homes in the last week. The flooding is being described as the worst to hit the region in 80 years. 3 fishermen stranded on a remote Pacific island for more than a week have been rescued after spelling out the word help in the sand using giant palm fronds. A crew from the US Coast Guard cutter Oliver Henry plucked the men in their 40s from part of the Federated States of Micronesia after their message was spotted from the air. The trio had been missing since failing to return from an Easter Sunday fishing expedition aboard their 20-foot skiff and survived by eating coconuts. And a new dog robot is being trained to walk on the moon. Called Spirit, the robot is part of the Legged Autonomous Surface Science in Analog Environments project. The idea is to teach Spirit how to cope with challenging terrain in the same way humans do. The group has a 2-year, $2 million grant to help NASA put teams of robots working together on the surface of the moon.
Moving forward to missions that are going to occur on our moon, we're going to have humans and robots really for the first time on planetary missions working side by side. And so what the Lassie project is doing is really looking forward to that time and considering how should humans and robots collaborate for exploration of planets, particularly where should they go to collect data.
And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.